Good morning, beautiful people. It is Tuesday, March 17th. Happy St. Patrick's Day. You know, the day the Irish come to... Can you mute the guy's microphone? We don't need your misery on the microphone right now. We will be getting to that in a second. Connor Campbell is answering phones there, 1-833-622-3331 to join the conversation. It's St. Patrick's Day, okay? A day that is... supposed to be celebrated with immense amounts of booze. But since we have the coronavirus quarantine, self-quarantine, lockup, go to work, go home, stay home, don't talk to anybody, touch anybody. Obviously, St. Patrick's Day is a little bit different this year. There's still people getting drunk at home and stuff like that, but it doesn't feel as festive as St. Patrick's Day. And then a piece of news came into the world and really lit everybody's spirits up, except for one particular fan base. And we could talk about how Billy O'Brien, the head coach and general manager of the Houston Texans, is a stooge. We could talk about that, what he did yesterday with DeAndre Hopkins getting traded away for a second-round pick, when there's been 40 to 50 other wide receivers that go for first-round picks that are nowhere near what DeAndre Hopkins is. He got fleeced by the Arizona Cardinals that are becoming a real team. And we could talk about Stefon Diggs, who is now wearing a different uniform with the Buffalo Bills. We could talk about Kyle Van Noy making a lot of money in Miami. Congrats to him. We could talk about all these things, but the biggest news on this St. Patrick's Day, Tuesday, March 17th, 2020, comes from a social media post where reality was smacked in the face of the New England Patriots fan base. A reality that the future in your football world might not be as bright as it once has been for 20 years. Now, we all kind of knew this was potentially going to come. Mm-hmm. The conversation on this show varied from, there's no way he'll troll for this long and leave. This could be received worse than the decision. Then it went to the fact that, no, he's staying. He has to stay. Now we're at this point. And then things started happening. We're like, he's gone. Hey, Tom Brady is gone. And then as we move forward, we all kind of came to this realization that he was gone. And then in the first, weekend of free agency and tampering period, it was always like Tom Brady might not be able to go anywhere other than the New England Patriots because the market is drying out. And then after a meeting at a Kraft house, Tom Brady and he sat and chatted. This morning on his social medias, Tom Brady basically said, hey, been fun, I'm out, see ya, to the New England Patriots fan base in a very long, grateful fashion, right? He talks about how he's been there for 20 years and the team has achieved so much success in his relationships that he's built and how he loves everybody, which, by the way, I respect the fact that he put that all out there because this has been directly about Tom Brady for a long time, where I think Tom Brady has tried to lift up his others and his teammates and things like that in the past. I think that is something that Tom Brady has done, but it's always a talk about Tom Brady because he's a quarterback with 6 Super Bowl rings. And in his long message, I mean, this was a diatribe. This was a couple of scrollers. The people had to zoom in on these photos to read them on Instagram. That's how long it was written. He just says, listen, I'm moving on. I am not done playing football, but I am gone from the Patriots. And now this is the reality for New England Patriots fans. The ones that held on hope through everything. The ones who have been able to celebrate 6 different Super Bowl parades, like the happiest of times. The ones that have been envied by basically every other NFL fan base for the last 20 years. The ones who have, had to face so much hatred because of how arrogant you guys were about winning all the time. Now that fan base is looking at a future that does not look anything like what it had looked like for a long time. Unless you have 100% faith that Bill Belichick's the greatest coach of all time, I mean, this Tom Brady leaving thing becoming a reality must be tough. So to ask to get a little, temperature gauge on the New England Patriots fan base, we have a kid who, we just talked about this a little bit ago because we were watching him go into the bathroom by himself. He had to wash his face off. I think he was crying. I think he's potentially crying. He had to wash his face off when this happened. He yelled very loudly whenever the news came across the television. This kid, we've known him for a couple years now. There's nothing he cares about anywhere near what he cares about the New England Patriots.
Not even close.
Nothing. He lives in a shanty he calls the pub that he absolutely loves. If that thing was to burn down and the Patriots franchise was to burn down, he would not even think about peeing on the pub. He would go directly to the Patriots and save them. This kid loves the New England Patriots. He's been to a Super Bowl. He's gone to some games. He's 24 years old, so literally his entire life, all he has known in the greatest league in the world is just dominance over other people. He celebrated plenty of nights whenever teams that I was on will get killed by the Patriots. Absolutely killed. He probably laughed in my face whenever we had the worst potentially worst football play of all time against the Patriots in another loss. This kid has lived and died with the New England Patriots. And his reaction this morning to Tom Brady leaving, I think probably echoes all of Boston and all of New England and all of Patriots Nation. Connor, how we doing, bub?
Look, Patriots Nation is always going to love Tom Brady. I love Tom Brady.
This is such a professional quote right now.
But with that being said,
okay,
the first Super Bowl was Vinatieri.
Don't do
Correct?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he should get a little bit more credit, I think.
The second Super Bowl without Deion Branch, we're not winning.
Oh, so Deion Branch won that second one, okay.
The third Super Bowl, let me introduce you again to my friend Adam Vinatieri.
Okay, so Adam Vinatieri now has two.
He
Deion
won that
Branch
one.
has one, all right.
Fourth Super Bowl, Malcolm Butler, ever heard of him?
Oh, the pick there at the
The
end.
interception at the end.
Yeah.
Now Atlanta, Tom, hats off.
Okay.
Incredible performance. But that last Super Bowl, I mean, we had a rushing touchdown. Do you have any passing touchdowns?
What are you saying, Connor? You're saying this isn't that big of a deal. We're moving on anyways. Jared Stidham's ready to rock.
All I'm saying is that the one consistent factor to the Patriots organization, Mr. Bill Belichick, and we still got him.
Oh, my God.
And if he is going to be in Middle Tennessee during the Combine, if he's going to roll with Jared Stidham, if he's not even going to offer Brady, Bill, like this, I'm walking forward, trusting you, blind faith. It doesn't matter what we do. As long as you say it's okay, then we are okay. But God, today is the worst day of my life. Not even close.
Man. By the way, I think he really thought that one through right there.
Yeah.
You know? Because that was not his same reaction when he initially saw this. And I would assume a lot of New England fans' initial reaction was not a positive one. I mean, Diggs was called some things on the internet because he was celebrating this potential move because he's a diehard Steelers fan. The things that were being said to him are not okay.
Can't do it.
The things people were saying to me, Campbell, if you don't go in there and tear Brady down, you better not come back to Boston because we don't want you.
Oh, so they're talking about, you potentially being a little bit too soft here on Tom Brady.
Oh, yeah. They believe me. They wanted me to go scorch earth, but I couldn't tear down the statue that is built in my head of Tom Brady just yet.
Okay, well, we said that we thought that it would be received worse than the decision.
Yeah.
Early reports. Early reports.
What even was the decision? What, a 1 hour special? What was this? 2 months?
Yeah, it was 2 month build up.
2.5.
Dragging a fan base through the mud for 2 months.
Through the mud. And we're saying 2.5. That's from the Super. This is really, 3.5 months? You know what? This was a year. This just could have been even longer than 3.5 months.
He did say he wanted to be a free agent at the beginning of the year. He said he wanted to control his own destiny. But is that his fault that the business that he was probably hoping that would stay behind closed doors came out publicly? You know, he probably told old Robert Kraft, hey, I need out of here. I can't do this anymore. I'd like to try the free agency, see what it's like other places. I want to be a free agent or whatever. He made that decision is what everybody said. And then that got leaked to the public. What's Tom supposed to do after that is, I don't want to be here anymore. He couldn't do that. I mean, this has been a year-long play, though. Those post-game press conferences, I mean, the team, and then man, it's been awesome.
And we got the toughest schedule now. The AFC East finally gets a little good, and then all of a sudden, old Tommy Brady's kind of shying away from a decent AFC East, from the hardest schedule in the NFL. I mean,
you don't feel that way.
Maybe with age, Brady, he got a little soft. I don't know. Just from what I'm seeing.
Couldn't agree more.
Hey, this is a wild time. You hear these Patriots fans? They'll turn their back on you. This is every fan base, by the way, though. If you have this much success and then Andrew Luck, I mean, it was only, being serious, it was only a few hundred people probably in the entire city that were booing Andrew Luck whenever he walked away 10 days before the season started. And that obviously was a sentiment had by a lot of the fans, obviously. But boy, I bet you there's some people that are not happy with Andrew Luck still to this day. And Andrew literally played through, like, I think 5 surgeries or something like that in 4 years. He had internal bleeding, I think, at one point or something. His shoulder was broken. And everybody's like, to hell with him, bum, get him out of here. We had Peyton, we got to get him out of here. That's what some people, not all people. But if you win 6 Super Bowls and have 20 years together, and then towards the end it gets in an interesting situation like it has, I mean, this is insane.
The pain will heal, and they will come back around and celebrate Tom's career.
When he retires,
it's 5 years from now.
Yeah.
It's probably when he goes into the Hall. They'll claim Tom Brady again.
Like when Vinatieri, I've said this on numerous occasions, when Vinatieri would go back up there, the things that would be said to Adam Vinatieri during the game from those fans, I was like, oh my God. Jogging on, though, some people would give him like, hey, Vinny, welcome back or whatever. But as soon as like any actual activity started, boy, it was tough. That's why I think I don't know if he's going to go to Miami. Because if he goes to Miami, he has to go into Foxborough at least once.
And the Pats fans love to cheer for him, but boy, they love booing. They love booing even more.
Scared? You think Tom's scared?
He's scared of the
I just don't know if
schedule.
you'd sign up for that. Do you know what their fans are like? Their fans are good fans. It doesn't get talked about a lot because of how good their team is. It's just kind of expected because of how arrogant. But they are a rowdy bunch in there. I mean, their fans are a rowdy bunch in there. And it's not like some places are like they're loud, but they're like, go team, like block that kick, like that type of corny stuff. Not New England fans. No, New England fans are trying to
tear you down.
They're trying to affect your well-being mentally whenever they're talking to you. It's awesome. Like that's the type of Baltimore was the same way. Houston was like that. There's some places that are just insane. I couldn't imagine Tom being like, yeah, I want to go in there. Or maybe he does, by the way. Maybe that is something that he wants. I haven't even thought about
he
that.
Wants Bill.
Maybe he's like, yeah, I want to go in there once a year.
That guy made a living and a career out of going into opposing hostile stadiums and ripping fans' hearts out.
He did love it, too. He's like one of those guys who enjoys it, jogs down the field, too, everywhere he goes.
Let's go.
Oh, yeah. Hey, by the way, he's going to be doing that in another jersey. That's tough.
Don't you think?
And if it's like the Peyton Manning leaving, all they'll show on ESPN is him in whatever jersey he goes to next, not even in the Patriots stuff. Now, on the internet, I know you can find photos of Peyton wearing Colts stuff. And it might be back to him wearing Colts stuff on TV. But there for a little bit, the only thing they would show after he retired was him in a Denver Broncos jersey because he won a Super Bowl there. He broke some records there. Tom Brady's going to break a lot of all-time passing records and stuff at another place. He's going to probably win another Super Bowl somewhere else. I mean, it's going to be an insane. Whenever people, I'm going to be intrigued to see how his entire legacy is talked about. Because what if he goes and loses? Then it's a whole different story.
Would hate to see that.
I don't think he's going to. By the way, I think wherever he's going to a place that's going to be prime for success. But if he does, boy, it's going to add even more to the New England Patriots fans.
The real question at this point is when he gets enshrined in the Hall of Fame, is he going to go in as like a Buccaneer or as a as a Patriot?
Where is he going to go? That's the question.
That doesn't matter in NFL.
No, I know. But,
Vinatieri always had to answer that question. And Vinatieri, like I could tell he didn't mind people asking the question because there was them talking about him going to the Hall of Fame, which is pretty awesome. But every single time he'd be like, I don't think I have to decide in football. Maybe in baseball or something you have to. Like every time he try to say that subtly to the people, like just do a little research. Just try to do a little. But if Vinny, I was like, I didn't know that. Like I told Vinny, I was like, I didn't, because the person asked the question and he laughed it off and he said, you don't have to do that in football. And I was like, really? You don't? I thought for sure you would have to make a decision. He was like, no, you don't have to in football.
Why do players always sign one-day contracts then to retire with the team? If that's just different?
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. Honestly, I don't know. Because a lot of guys that don't go to Hall of Fame do that too.
Yeah.
I think it's just because maybe they want to let people know this is how they'd want to be remembered. Yeah. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know. They had me just go hit the anvil. 14 minutes after the hour, we got to get to a break. We'll get some phone calls. I believe in an hour from now, we have Lorenzo Alexander. He was originally going to be in for the CBA conversations, but man, that feels like 2 coronaviruses away. That feels like so long ago. By the way, will not get talked about. New CBA. Yeah. I mean, this Stefon Diggs move, massive. DeAndre Hopkins getting traded for a second rounder by Billy O'Brien to get David Johnson and Randall Cobb. He's going to end up paying both of them more than he would have paid DeAndre Hopkins. Massive news. Tom Brady confirming that he's gone. Massive news. That CBA is just like nobody gives a damn.
Who cares?
Yeah, who cares? So I'm going to talk to him about the Buffalo Bills picking up Stefon Diggs. He's got a good football brain. He'll be good about that. Can't wait to chat with him in about an hour. Played in the NFL a long time, man. There's been nothing like what's going on in our world and in the NFL, like what has been going on right now. Some people are thinking, did the NFL create the coronavirus?
Did Brady?
That was a Patriot fan already trying to smear him. We'll be back on the other side of this Pat McAfee show.
It's happening. People are freeing themselves from their wireless contracts. It's a movement towards something simple. Get truly unlimited data on a 5G-ready network for just $45 a month, with no contract ever. Simple Mobile. Out with the old, in with the simple.
Coronavirus ain't stopping us from getting a fucking pump on, alright? First, let's get some push-ups in. We up, we up, we up, we up, we up, we up, we up. That's one. When I dip, you dip, we 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 dip. We did. Oh, God. That's what I thought. Now wall sit for about 20, 30 minutes straight. And that's it. Some of you might be thinking, that sounds a lot like a prison workout. And that might be where I learned this one night for an alleged incident, but stay in shape. Don't let COVID-19 boss you around.
Let's get it. Let's go. Dream house is a tour bus. Scream loud that you knew us. Deep down on the new plug. You ain't about to get too dust. Pete's frown when they crew scrubs. Sweet sound from the two subs. Beats loud as a move, bruh. Leave the crowd like, ooh, what? Long hair on the big thigh. 210s, both sitting shoddy. Crack a fist, start getting rowdy. Blowing nose, looking like an Audi. It's Uncle Sam without the taxes. Crowd stands up, I keep them loud. I made this beat, you hear it smacking? Who is 30? Hand me a nap. You probably wasn't expecting this. What? Expected this?
One fucking page.
I don't have to worry about the coronavirus anymore.
Like a fucking bomb went off. It's like,
Dude, I saw there's the fucking net. Oh, dude, what's going on?
Everyone's a comedian, all right? Steve Jobs used to dip his feet in toilet water randomly.
I bet they still smelled better than yours. Yours are a woman?
I
Are
can
you
see Tony's brain cells just exploding into thin air.
Do you think that steer ever looks back at you and goes, son of a
Is that when you
bitch,
tie
you
the
got
legs?
big one.
I'm sold. I'm in. He got me.
Suck it. All you guys.
James duty mensch?
These guys got in there, undid their suitcases, just dumped all their clothes.
Well, you have to remember.
Well, yeah, not for me.
Gee, son of a bitch. Can I not get the alcoholic cowboys?
And, babe, it's time to go to war.
Welcome to the pod.
When's the last time you were driving through a storm and thought, wow, I love not being able to see when I drive?
Never.
Yeah, you probably haven't. Now, driving in bad weather doesn't have to be a headache thanks to the new Michelin Endurance XT silicone wiper blades. These blades last through everything. To prove it, Michelin just put their new Endurance XT silicone wiper blades to this test on a world record-breaking 16,000-mile drive from Alaska to Argentina just to show how durable these blades are. Rainier Zeitlo was the man behind the wheel, and he put the Michelin Endurance XT silicone wiper blades through ice, snow, rain, thunder, and wind, and the blades took all of it. These blades are crafted for extreme weather performance with an advanced quad-tech 4-layer coated silicone that repels water, snow, and ice and lasts 2 times longer than other blades. The Michelin Endurance XT silicone wiper blades are real-world proven for extreme weather performance.
Wow.
Upgrade to the Michelin Endurance XT silicone wiper blades today, only at Walmart.
Wow. Shout out to the Michelin Silicone XT Wiper Super Blades. Only available at Walmart, Target, CVS, all of them coming together, battling against COVID-19. I'll tell you what's beating COVID-19 right now. It's the NFL's news cycle. Right now, all live sports have stopped, and the NFL free agency is more insane than it's ever been, ever. News is just breaking at all times. The 2-day tampering period right now has just become the free agency period. I mean, free agency isn't supposed to even start until tomorrow at 4. Tomorrow at 4, and here's deals that have already happened. Amari Cooper turned down more money from the Washington Redskins to accept a deal 5 years, $100 million with the Dallas Cowboys, back at the Dallas Cowboys. So there's a $100 million deal for Amari Cooper with the Dallas Cowboys. Now, Amari Cooper scored 8 tugs last year. Great player. Has been an impact for the Dallas Cowboys since arriving from the Oakland Raiders trade. They have to have a weapon if they want to even think about Dak Prescott feeling happy about signing that franchise tag, which, by the way, there's a lot more people saying he should not sign it than I imagined, by the way. As somebody that got franchise tagged, and you just got for show money sitting right there, and all you're thinking about is Mo money, and you could end up with no money. And that's like my thought. But Dak Prescott, I mean, he has obviously outplayed his contract. Obviously. Everybody knows that. He retired Tony Romo, say, hey, take a hike, pal. Go be the best broadcaster you could possibly be. But, man, just to say nah to $33 million in hopes of getting $100 million, I understand. Hey, that's a big jump there. But if I see $33 million, by the way, if I'm getting paid anywhere near that and I'm punting, this show doesn't exist. By the way, I was grossly overpaid to do what I did. Like, I'm not saying that Dak Prescott doesn't have an argument for wanting more money, but boy, that's hard to say no to $33 million. I respect the fact that you can look at a piece of paper that says you will make $33 million guaranteed within the next 12 months. I respect that, but boy, I'll be excited to see what happens with that. Amari Cooper gets paid, and now they're coming in. Drew Brees signed a deal for 2 years with the Saints for roughly $50 million. So $25 million per. He's back with the Saints. They had Teddy Bridgewater on the roster. He's going to be a free agent. Nobody knows where he's going. Maybe the New England Patriots. Wait a minute. Maybe the New England Patriots. No, they won't be able to afford him.
Not enough money, yeah.
You guys,
They can't pay anybody.
They can't pay anybody.
You can pay Dalton.
Andy Dalton is going to be
Bring the rifle.
He's going to be the guy. Andy Dalton's probably going to be there. But Drew Brees now, quarterback at $25 million a year. He's won a Super Bowl. He has all the records. Obviously, he's had heartbreaking losses to end the last 3 seasons. I think he was potentially thinking about retiring for real this year. He comes back for another $50 million. He made before this deal. I had Diggs just look it up. Diggs, how much has Drew Brees earned?
$244 million.
Okay, so this is whenever I love when people go, Drew Brees taking $25 million, Dak Prescott saying no to $33. It's like, well, Drew Brees has earned $244.7 million in the NFL so far. $244.7. Now, shout out to Uncle Sam making $122.35 or whatever. Shout out to Uncle Sam getting half of that, whatever. But he also has a bunch of businesses, too. He's made a lot of money. Dak Prescott hasn't earned that. The reason why Drew Brees has earned that is because he got this deal that Dak's looking to get right now. So that conversation's stupid. But wait until we see Patty Mahomes' extension that's coming. I mean, this is only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger for everybody, and people are getting broken off. Amari Cooper, Drew Brees, Stefon Diggs is probably going to work a new deal if I had to guess. Anytime you go to a new place, you usually do that. He's just landed with the Buffalo Bills. Amari Cooper, $100 million deal. Anthony Costanzo got 33 over the weekend. Ryan Tannehill got 100 and some.
Buckner.
DeForest Buckner got traded from the San Francisco 49ers to come to the Indianapolis Colts for the 13th pick overall. He's a 6'7", 25-year-old dude that was on that fearsome foursome that was in the front line of the San Francisco 49er defense. And the more and more I thought about this, I kind of roasted Ballard with my initial reaction. I was like, what are we doing? But the more and more I think about it, like, is there going to be DeForest Buckner sitting at number 13 of this year's NFL draft? If there isn't, then why wouldn't you trade it? And that has to be the way that you look at it. 13th pick is obviously it's in the first half of the first round, so it's a good pick. There's probably going to be a great player there. A lot of great players have been picked at 13 or below. I completely understand that. But if you think all-pro D-tackle DeForest Buckner is a guy that is better than anybody that you could fathom getting at 13 for the rest of their career, why wouldn't you pull the trigger? The dude's young, too.
Plus, Ballard always loves the locker room stuff, and he was voted team captain at 25.
Not easy.
And then that's like getting him at 13. You have no idea what you're getting at 13. That's why, like, when people came at the Steelers for getting Minkah Fitzpatrick and not knowing what draft pick that was going to be, like, you know what you're getting.
If I was going to be a general manager, I would be playing the free agency game a lot more. And now I understand that is not the path to success, especially in the NFL. Those who draft and build their team through the draft are normally the most sustainable because injuries happen and you've done all the scouting and properly, you really invest your time in who you build your team through. I understand that. But boy, it'd be hard for me not to be like, oh, that guy has proven to do that. Okay, yeah, I'm going to pick him instead of some guy that I have no idea about because this person could be the best player of all time or even the worst player at all. You have no idea if the people are going to be able to transition from college to the NFL. That's why it's a wild world. That's why these trades are so big. That's why not getting a first rounder so that you can have that as trade bait later whenever you have DeAndre Hopkins as a player on your team. And then it comes out that Billy O'Brien, who anointed himself as general manager publicly just a month ago or something like that. It comes out that he wanted to trade him a year ago. So he wanted to trade him 1 year ago. DeAndre Hopkins has a great year again. DeAndre Hopkins is a stud. All he does is have great years. When I was with the Colts and we had to play, he was a freak. He was an absolute freak. Still is, by the way. Makes insane catches, absolutely insane catches. So you have that talent, and you trade him away for a second-round pick to Arizona to get back David Johnson. Then you sign Randall Cobb, and you get a fourth-round pick basically swapped because they're getting a fourth-round pick too. So all you're getting is David Johnson as a second-round pick, and you're paying Randall Cobb and David Johnson more money than you would have paid DeAndre Hopkins. That one doesn't seem to make much sense. Dan Orlovsky, I think, on ESPN yesterday said that Deshaun Watson should ask to be traded because he doesn't think Billy O'Brien is capable to be a general manager and run a good team. He said there's no reason that Bill O'Brien should have the same power that Bill Belichick has. And he does, it feels like. And I think that's a very valid point. Bill O'Brien, though, coached that team to a playoff run this year. I think you got to give credit there. But, boy, it feels like they never really perform. And then you make moves like this. You can't help but go, is that guy a stooge? Is Billy O'Brien a stooge? And you're like, well, it comes from the Belichick coaching tree. Not a lot of success out of that coaching tree. Mm-hmm. Is that the case? I don't know.
He didn't get a first-round pick in the last 12 months for Clowney or DeAndre Hopkins, and then he got rid of all their first-round picks for Tunsil. Like that's maybe why they had to do this deal, and he would have taken any pick just to get picks at all because they have nothing.
This is like draft day, where they're like, all right, who's the idiot? Call the idiot. I wonder if that's what all the other GMs are like. They're, all right, we need to make a deal. We need to make a move. Who's somebody? Oh, we can get one on Billy O. We can get one over on Billy O. Let's give him a call. Bill, how you doing? Oh, you just named yourself general manager. Smart. Yeah, you're really good. We're wondering what you would want for DeAndre Hopkins. Third rounder, you think? Third rounder and a fifth? That's probably what we would do. Billy O's like, third rounder? At least a second. All right, second. You also want this massive contract? Yeah. All right, here you go. Deal. Let's get DeAndre Hopkins. You get David Johnson in a second-round pick.
Will Fuller is good too. Like he's very good, but wasn't he hurt like six games last year? Like if you're expecting him to just be the go-to guy, like Hopkins always was playing too. Like always getting to like very reliable. It makes no sense.
Matt Wild move. Stefon Diggs also gone from the Minnesota Vikings, which I don't want to say that I haven't been saying that doesn't seem like a good relationship for a long time. I don't feel like I've been saying that for a long time, but I do feel like every time I do say it, I was getting attacked by Minnesota Vikings fans who told me I didn't know Stefon Diggs, that I didn't understand Stefon Diggs. I think I do, and I think I understand him more than you guys did. He was not happy, and he wanted the hell out of there, and I think he's going to go do well for the Bills if Josh Allen can hit him. Josh Allen made great improvement from the first year to the second year. He was a great player last year. He was a very good player last year. I'm excited to see him take that next step. He has all the athleticism. He has all the talent. Can he make every throw? I think with arm strength he can. I guess stats come out that says he's not great with the deep ball, but I think he'll be able to figure it out because he's a gamer and he's athletic. And now Stefon Diggs is a threat if Stefon Diggs is in.
When we were talking about the Patriots salary cap a little bit earlier,
Yeah, buddy.
I'm sure they can restructure some stuff and along those lines, but they currently have $3 million in cap space.
Yeah, I mean, that's – who can you get? P.J. Walker, I bet.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, PJ probably couldn't even get P.J. Walker. P.J. Walker had such a good year at the XFL. I don't think you could pay him $3 million and get him. I don't think you could. I think somebody will offer him more money to be a backup after what P.J. Walker did. I don't even know. And by the way, you have to have some money, I guess, just in case you draft people or people get hurt and you got to bring in more.
They do have the most draft picks in the NFL.
Yeah,
There's one positive.
And by the way, what if they trade up with the Bengals somehow?
Oh,
and get
no. Trade Gilmore, trade the first-round pick, trade McCourty, and go get that number 1 overall and get
You
Burrow.
can't get rid of too many people on that defense side of the ball. You lost Kyle Van Noy for 50-some million or something like that down in Miami. Hey, good for Kyle Van Noy.
Happy for him.
Broken off down there. Oh, B-Flow. B-Flow. Here's a statement from Robert Kraft on Tom Brady's Patriots career. How do I possibly sum up the depth of my gratitude to Tom Brady for what he's given us these past 20 years, or the sadness I feel knowing it's ending? ? I love Tom like a son, and I always will. He has brought me so much happiness to me personally and to all of our fans. I had hoped this day would never come, but rather that Tom would end his remarkable career in a Patriots uniform after yet another Super Bowl championship. Unfortunately, the two sides were unable to reach an agreement to allow that dream to become a reality. While sad today, the overwhelming feeling I have is appreciation for his countless contributions to our team and community. When Tom arrived in New England as an unheralded, let me pat myself on the back real quick, unheralded 6th-round pick, no one could have imagined the fairy tale story that would be written, the records that would be broken, or the joy he would bring to an entire region. He leaves 20 years later as the winningest quarterback in NFL history with 6 Super Bowl victories, 9 AFC titles, and 17 division championships. He's been an exemplary teammate and leader. There simply will never be another Tom Brady. I now look forward to the day we can bring him home to New England and celebrate his Patriots career, his endless achievements, and his legacy as the greatest of all time. I love him very much. Robert Kraft.
Brady's going to kill Kraft, man.
What do you mean?
I mean, that was a very somber message right there. That might have
that
been
was how I read it.
Might have been the final.
Well, he's sad.
That's how it sounded.
They won last party goodbye last night.
Might be the nail in the coffin.
Stephen A. just said that Robert Kraft called him. Stephen A. just said on First Take on ESPN that Robert Kraft called him during the last commercial break and told him, and be very clear, if Tom Brady wanted to stay, we would have worked it out, and he would have remained a New England Patriot. But Tom Brady wanted to leave, says Robert Kraft to Stephen A. Smith via a phone call of a commercial during First Take. Those are the things our show does not get. That's the type of stuff.
Hold on, I think I got Bill calling through right now. I think I got him.
You got Bill from Southie. That's who you got.
Kraft spinning them wheels, though.
What do you mean?
Just, hey, everyone, just know. If Tom wanted to stay, we would have worked it out, but he wanted out.
This is just like when Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys team released the details of the contract offer that they sent to Dak that would have made him the wealthiest contract in the history of the NFL. They leaked that information so that fans would know, like, hey, we just offered him more money than any quarterback has ever been offered. We would like you to know that we are trying. That's exactly what that is with Kraft, too. And by the way, the right person to call. Like, if I ever need to get something out, I think I just send a text over to Stephen A. Like, hey, this is what I'm thinking, by the way. I just got a call. I mean, Stephen A., if he says it, people will hear it. That's a smart move by Kraft.
The Kraft statement and the Belichick statement, these were not created this morning or possibly yesterday.
Hold on, where's Belichick's statement?
Right next to Kraft's.
No.
In that tweet that was sent in the group.
Oh, my God. I didn't know that. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Belichick's statement on Tom Brady's Patriots career. Tom is not just a player who bought into our program. He was one of its original creators. Tom lived in perpetuating our culture on a daily basis. He was a tone setter and a bar raiser. He won championships in 3 of his first 4 years on the field and in 3 of his final 6 seasons with us, while competing for championships in almost every season in between. This is a credit to Tom's consistency and what separates him. He didn't just perform. He didn't just win. He won championships over and over and over again. Tom and I will always have a great relationship built on love. Whoa. Admiration, respect, and appreciation. Tom's success as a player and his character as a person are exceptional. Nothing about the end of Tom's Patriots career changes how unfathomably, Belichick's using these words?
Wordsmith.
Oh, yeah.
It's been in the lab.
Unfathomably. We're on to Cincinnati, unfathomably. Spectacular it was. With his relentless competitiveness and longevity, he earned everyone's adoration and will be celebrated forever. It has been a privilege to coach Tom Brady for 20 years. Examples of Tom's greatness and limitless going back even before he was drafted. We witnessed how he prepared when he wasn't playing, how he performed when he got his opportunity, what he did to continuously improve, his leadership, his mindset, the example he set, and of course, the person he is. I am extremely grateful for what he did for our team and for me personally. Sometimes in life, it takes some time to pass before truly appreciating something or someone, but that has not been the case with Tom. He is a special person and the greatest quarterback of all time, says Bill Belichick. Yeah, that was not just typed up this morning.
No.
That's interesting. Because those, by the way, Bill Belichick, who a lot of people thought he and Tom did not see eye to eye, saying that is a massive deal. That's a big deal message right there. Now Tom's going to have to answer that message to Bill Belichick, right? Because then it will look like Bill Belichick was trying and Tom wasn't, right? Mm-hmm. But that's a very interesting message of love there from Bill Belichick. That felt, now granted, we have no idea who wrote those. If Bill Belichick, I would assume Bill Belichick would write this, by the way.
Yeah.
Nothing ever would say that Bill Belichick wouldn't write his own quote for something like this. But that is not how it ever played out by the way people talked about that relationship. And I think that's like the classic case whenever you got a hard-nosed coach. So when you have like a hard-ass coach and you're his player, there's always like that moment where at some point when you see each other and you're not his player anymore, you see like the real person, right? So like Rich Rodriguez, for instance, hard ass of a coach. Thought the guy hated every single one of us on the team because the way he coached. Nobody missed out on him being. It wasn't until I saw him when I wasn't his player where I talked to him and I'm like, by the way, he's done some things everybody knows that isn't great, but he was much nicer to me than he was at that moment. I wonder if that's what Bill Belichick and Tom Brady is. I wonder if it's like, you know, he coached him hard for 20 years, which doesn't happen in the NFL, by the way. The OGs in the NFL do not get coached hard. Like, and by coached hard, I mean like called out in front of everybody because you're trying to instill leadership in the OGs. So if you point out their flaws in front of all the young guys, are you kind of taking away their credibility a little bit? Possibly. But Belichick, a lot of people said it. Keith Talib said it last week, where if Tom Brady messes something up, it is circled in front of everybody. This is the greatest player of all time. And I, by the way, from an outsider, I love and respect the fact that Bill Belichick has done that. And I love and respect the fact that Tom Brady has taken that. But if you think about it from the other standpoint, it's like, yo, this guy's been doing this for 20 years. You've done this a long time. Like, even if the guy's been in the league for 10 years, that's a very long time. To put him on blast is a wild move. But that's Bill Belichick's coaching style, is that hard-nosed coaching style. It's been a lot of success, and I like to hear the fact that some players come out and they're like, oh, he has a great personality too. So not only is he a hard-nosed, he has a good personality. I think that letter made me like Bill Belichick more than I had before that. And I don't know if that message was supposed to do that or not.
Do players in the locker room lose respect for a coach if he's hard on the younger players and not hard on the veterans? It's not just the or point out their mistakes.
Well, you got to. If you're an older player in the NFL, you're probably not making a lot of mistakes, right? So that doesn't happen as often. But I think if you're not consistent, I think that is when people are a little bit different, right? So if you chew out one person for their mistake, and then you're very calm and that might be because the person reacts better to that. That doesn't appear to be consistent for people. And I think that's all anybody wants is just consistency. But normally if you're old and you're in the league, there's a reason. You're not making a lot of mental mistakes because there's probably somebody younger and cheaper than you that can do your job, which is Vrabel's exact words, which I assume he heard from Bill Belichick at some point.
They're obviously pretty different, but let's say Brady does go to Tampa. Do you think he's looking for, like, Arians is kind of in that same cut of being like a hard-nosed coach, isn't he? You think he's kind of looking for something like that? Like, would it be hard to go somewhere else where like a head coach basically just lets Brady do whatever he wants and isn't there like constantly kind of harping on him to get him make sure he gets better.
How successful are the places that kind of just let people do whatever? Like Pete Carroll, I guess that's supposed to be a pretty free place, but I assume there's a lot of, you know what I mean? I assume the details for a lot of people are tight. I don't think you would ever see Tom go to a place that doesn't have a chance to win a championship. And I think for the type of environment you're speaking of, that's the type of place that can win a championship. I was watching that 2 Bills 30 for 30, and they were talking about how one older coach told them, like, yeah, there's 32 teams, but only 10 really have a chance. And that's all because of the culture, the environment, the things like that. Because all football players, aside from the greats, there's a lot of parity in the NFL. There's a lot of people that can run the same speed. There's a lot of people that can, understand things. It's all in between the years. So it's like if you have a place that can really get that locked down, that's where the success comes from, in my eyes.
And that's what Michael Lombardi said yesterday on the show, who was in the Patriots organization, is that at the beginning of the season there's about only 10 teams that can actually win it.
Yep. So he echoed the same thing.
Correct.
Yeah. So it's one of those. It's an interesting time. Tom's going to end up at a place, though, that's going to immediately become a contender, if they're not already a contender. But it sounds like with the places, they weren't contenders. Chargers, Buccaneers, Raiders, potentially, even though they signed Marcus Mariota, which I would like. I'm happy for Marcus Mariota, by the way, getting a deal. I didn't think he was going to get one. I did not know he was going to be a day one free agent signing. But I guess he played a lot of good football in those times where he didn't play great. And in his past couple of years, might not have been great with Vrabel. But that's a backup contract, I think. Just like Case Keenum's contract with
the Browns.
The Browns, that's a backup contract for, by the way, good signing. I think Case Keenum could probably be a pretty good influence on old Baker Mayfield, hopefully. I don't know. If Drew Stanton couldn't do it, will Case Keenum be able to do it? And I'm not saying Baker Mayfield needs a veteran presence, but it's probably nice to have a steady hand in there with Baker, because I think Baker, just like me, is the type of guy who goes off of instinct. So if you have a guy who in there who's cerebral, like Case Keenum has, I don't know if that's 100% accurate, but has had success with Stefanski in there too. Stefanski gets another quarterback coach in the room with Baker, which smart move for them. But I didn't expect Marcus Mariota to get that deal with the Raiders. But it feels like the Buccaneers are where Tom's going, huh? Tom hasn't talked. The Bucs really haven't talked, other than saying they give him roster control.
Bucs or Chargers, they came out with they both offer him $30 million.
All right, we got to get to a break. $5 million more than Drew Brees, by the way. Drew Brees has had bigger contracts, though, while Tom Brady hasn't before. While Tom was winning 6 Super Bowls, he had smaller contracts then. Wild time. 42 minutes after the hour, we're back on the other side. It's the Pat McAfee Show.
At Simple Mobile, you get the no-contract advantage. Unlimited talk, text, and data now for $30 a month. Now on a 5G-ready network with no activation fees ever. No confusion, no complexity, no frustration, and no contract. Ever, ever, ever. Now get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a month. And now 5G ready. It's our best deal ever. Buy yours now at nationwide retailers or at Simple Mobile dealers. Learn more at simplemobile.com. Simple Mobile. Out with the old, in with the simple.
Texans are trading DeAndre Hopkins to Arizona, per source.
Wow.
From Adam Schefter.
Shit. Okay.
Kyler Murray. Larry Fitzgerald's back again.
Hey, that offense started cooking late in the year, too. They were a problem for people. They were a real problem for people. DeAndre Hopkins going to Arizona is kind of a buzzkill for me, though. Now, unless Arizona is going to make a big run at the playoffs, I thought he could have been like a reason why a team goes from boom to bang. I think the Cardinals have a lot more to fix, like potentially on the defensive side of the ball. But if he would end up with, let's say, the Colts or the Packers or another team that needs the Patriots who need a weapon, he's like one player that could have taken somebody right over the motherfucking hump. And now in Arizona, it's like, oh, we still got some time.
Yeah, he is that kind of player, but you never know with Arizona, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Chandler Jones somehow gets like the quietest, 18 sacks last year. The dude's a monster.
So good, by the way.
What's that?
He's so good.
Yeah, and it's almost like it didn't happen for some reason. He didn't get the pub he deserved, so he's a stud. They have some good players out there. Patrick Peterson's still around, but yeah, what didn't you think? Wasn't there rumors that Hopkins possibly could have gone to Green Bay?
Yeah, if he goes to I floated that out on the show this morning, and a writer for The Athletic for the Green Bay Packers basically summarized me and Michael Lombardi's conversation about it, floating out the idea of the Pack potentially being a place for him to go. And that thing got real traction in Green Bay. And I don't think Packers fans are normally on board with a lot of shit. They were on board with that. I think Green Bay needs a weapon desperately, and their fans know it, though.
Yeah, they definitely could use somebody out there with Devontae Adams. He was banged up a little bit this year and was super productive. So DeAndre Hopkins would have been a huge help, but at what price? Like, what would you have had to give up?
I have full details on the deal. It's DeAndre Hopkins and a 4th-round pick going to the Cardinals, David Johnson and a 2nd-round pick this year and a 4th-round pick next year going to the Texans.
So it's a 2nd-round pick. It was a 2nd round. Now, David Johnson, he could, I guess, turn it on like he used to be, which, by the way, thank you, Diggs, for that update. The David Johnson, you remember him like 3 years? Was it 3 years ago? He took over the world. 3 years ago? 4 years ago? He took over the world. He was everything. He was the next guy, David Johnson. Then he got hurt. I think he broke his wrist or something, and then something else happened. He's kind of been gone for the last couple of years. But if he comes back, I guess this is a mighty move for the Texans. But it sounds like this is just a 2nd-round move.
Well, yeah, he was a 2nd and a 4th the following year, I guess, when you look at the whole thing. But David Johnson, the Cardinals were kind of stuck with his giant contract that they paid him, and he became the backup behind Kenyon Drake.
Yeah.
So
hold on,
they couldn't cut him either. That's the thing. Have you seen their his contract? They couldn't cut him. They'd eat a ton of money.
Kenyon Drake just got transition tagged.
Yeah.
Transition tagged today by the Cardinals as well. So obviously the Cardinals are ready to move on from the David Johnson era. They are able to get rid of him and get one of the most that's a Arizona Cardinals, by the way. I don't know if they get talked about often for making good moves. This feels like a good move for the Arizona Cardinals.
That's when you say it, when you actually you hear it back, man, it's an amazing move for the Cardinals because they were kind of stuck with his contract, David Johnson, even though he could still be a great player in the league, but he kind of became the backup. You don't want, if he's not your bell cow back taking every single rep pretty much and catching balls on 3rd down out of the backfield, you don't want to be having to pay a guy over $10 million.
Let's remember, Billy O just appointed himself officially the general manager recently. This is his first real move since anointing himself officially general manager. I feel like he just got beat by the high schooler Cliff Kingsbury a little bit.
Look good, feel good, play good.
Play good, pay good, live good, die good.
Look around you. It's a wireless world. And everyone needs a great pair of wireless earbuds. And you already know Raycon earbuds start at about half the price of any other premium wireless earbuds on the market. And they sound just as amazing as the other top audio brands you know. And Raycon's latest model, the E25, is their best one yet, with 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a nice noise-isolating fit. Raycon's wireless earbuds are so comfortable, perfect for on-the-go listening and for taking phone calls. Unlike some of your other wireless options, Raycon earbuds are both stylish and discreet, with no dangling wires or stems. You've heard me talk about how the company was co-founded by Ray J and celebrities like Snoop Dogg, Melissa Etheridge, J.R. Smith. They're obsessed with Raycons. Now's the time to see what the hype is all about. Get 15% off your order at buyraycon.com/Pat. That's buyraycon.com/Pat for 15% off Raycon wireless earbuds. Buyraycon.com/Pat.
Shout out Raycon. We all got wires, but the Bluetooth tech ain't there yet from the radio side. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Tuesday, March 17th, 2020. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Happy day that you found out Tom Brady will no longer be playing for the New England Patriots. And it sure feels like that dynasty run that was 20 years long is probably going to look a lot different going forward. And the New England Patriots fans are going to maybe have to experience some true failure like the rest of NFL fans have had to experience during this last 20 years with their dominance.
Maybe. You said it. Maybe.
Well, the reason why I said it is because I said maybe just because the greatest coach of all time is still up there in Bill Belichick. But, boy, you guys have no cash to spend. Your defensive captain left. Your offensive captain left. Your offensive line coach left. Everybody seems to be leaving, and you have no money to bring in a new quarterback.
And Joe Judge left.
And special teams coordinator left. I mean, you guys are potentially in a spot where you're going to go down in the dumps. The New England Patriots are potentially dead.
I was just watching some Jarrett Stidham highlights. I don't know, boys. He looks good. He looked good at Auburn.
Here's a worry. Yeah. Stidham starts. They stink for a year.
Yeah,
Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
We have some breaking news via Matt Miller, which is NFL Draft Scout on the internet. Just texted with a Colts source. Who was the Colts source?
It's a good question.
I would like to know because I think I have the same people's numbers potentially. And I don't want to text those questions, though, because I don't want to be put in that position. I'd like to have open conversation. They know they're off the record if they're off the record. Mm-hmm. Anyways, said Colts source who could have told me this information told Matt Miller instead of NFL Draft Scout that a Phillip Rivers deal is all but done to bring Phillip Rivers to Indianapolis and play for the Colts. So, just like we've been saying for a long time, Phillip Rivers coming to the Indianapolis Colts, big move for the Indianapolis Colts. Now, granted, Tom Brady is not going to be an Indianapolis Colt, which is a big sigh of relief for most people in Indianapolis because they hate Tom Brady. They also at one point hated Phillip Rivers because the Chargers and Colts had a little bit of a run back in the day when Antonio Gates and Mike Cyphers were on the squad there. I mean, that is something that they're obviously going to get over, but Phillip Rivers, if he has anything left in the tank, his competitive juices are some of the best in the world. That team is set up for success. An offensive line that is built. If they can somehow find another weapon, they won't be able to do that in the draft. They'll have to do it in free agency so you can free up T.Y. Hilton a little bit. You get Jackie Doyle back healthy as ever. You have a defense that is young and very good, including adding DeForest Buckner from the San Francisco 49ers that you just traded for. This is a team that is potentially ready to run. And Phillip Rivers getting another shot to maybe earn a legacy that people won't even question if he's a Hall of Famer or not if he can come win with this team. Now, what are the Colts going to pay him? Drew Brees, it is alleged, just agreed to a 2-year, $50 million deal, which is obviously $25 per. Ryan Tannehill just signed a deal that's averaging $29.5 per. Will he sign for $27, $25, $22, something along those lines? Those details will obviously leak out in the coming minutes or even hours. But Phillip Rivers is all but a Colt is what everybody's saying. Good for the Indianapolis Colts, especially in an AFC South with Billy O running the ship down there in Houston. Tennessee, they got Tannehill. They're going to franchise tag Derrick Henry, but they also have 26 other free agents from this run that they just went on. In Jacksonville, they don't know what they're doing. So, I mean, the AFC South, potentially a good place for Phillip Rivers and also for the Indianapolis Colts.
And I think they still can't get a weapon. I mean, they have a pick at they have Washington's pick in the second round, so it's a second round pick, or the second pick in the second round. Then they have their pick in the second round. They could possibly package that to get back into the first round to take one of those 10 wide receivers who were supposed to be really, really good.
T.Y. Hilton, I think he was a third rounder or fourth rounder. He was a diamond in the rough that is their current number one option. Jack Doyle, good tight end. They get another weapon and they have a couple running backs that are talented. That team with that offensive line, if it can just maintain its consistency through the entire season, the Colts could be on a run here. So now the AFC. Turning of a tide, obviously, with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. His extension could be announced. I mean, I don't know if they would want to do it now because it wouldn't get as much savor and flavor as it would as its own announcement. But the Chiefs, obviously, the Ravens, obviously, and then who's going to be that third AFC team? Is it going to be the AFC East squad? Who's going to be in the AFC East? The Buffalo Bills, or is it going to be Buffalo and Miami? Because the Patriots, we all know, are going to stink next year.
Right.
And then in the AFC South, the Colts are all the way back with Phillip Rivers. Now we're talking about a 4-horse race, really. And if anybody can catch up to Patrick Mahomes, it's going to be a defense that is going to have to beat Patrick Mahomes, which the Colts already did this year early in the season.
Odds were Chiefs plus 300, Ravens plus 420, Bills plus 1,100, Steelers plus 1,100, Colts plus 1,200.
Here we go. Hey, NFL is awesome right now. They got a flamethrower out and said, we got you through this quarantine. Speaking of, we'll be back with you for the hour 2. We'll get to some phones. You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show.
One by one, it's happening. People are freeing themselves from the hassle and frustration of their wireless contracts. It's a movement towards something simple. Simple Mobile. Truly unlimited, high-speed talk, text, and data on a 5G-ready network. And no contract. Ever. Get truly unlimited data on a 5G-ready network for just $45 a month. Simple Mobile. Out with the old, in with the simple.
You want to fornicate with me? You either get on the train or you're laying on the tracks getting run over. It's their sandbox. You gotta play by their rules. But at some point, Goodell has to come out and be like, yo, kick him out of the league. I do not get cramps in my hands or I'm writing checks.
He definitely deserves an apology, and that's my bad on that.
Work-life balance is a load of crap. He's taking a bunch of average Joes.
Some of these younger guys, they're so confident in their ability that they don't think they need any advice.
Like, what are you doing? You don't see the best teams doing that.
It's just finding a way to be better today than you were yesterday.
One bad decision can affect the rest of your life.
Come on, Chicago! Let's hug it out, you little bitches!
If I would have had Aaron Donald at D tackle, they couldn't even line up and play football.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Our essence is not infinite. Let's make our todays better than our yesterdays, because we truly have no idea if tomorrow will ever come. We have to be. Hi, how's it going? Right now is a big fucking day for the YouTube. Hey, we appreciate you all watching on YouTube. Sorry for that. You probably got your kids around because they're home from school, but I was just showed the numbers from the YouTube, and I just wanted to say, hey, thank you so much for watching. We're here every single day, 10 to noon. This afternoon from 1 to 2, me and AJ Hawk will be live here. Very stupid show, obviously. I have very dumb opinions on things, but they normally tend to be right, and they're hopefully a little bit more entertaining or a different viewpoint than you can find anywhere else. Me and the boys live every day here, though, every single day. Now, granted, some might leave for coronavirus in situations like that. Connor Campbell might go missing for a little bit because of this whole Tom Brady news. But for the most part, it's the boys and I every single day, and we appreciate you. And sometimes we like to dive deep into the most beautiful place on the internet, the YouTube comments, for some YouTube questions. YouTube questions. That was really good.
Adam, is it possible that the season...
That doesn't sound right. First question here from Raj. How does it feel to get Brady to Chargers and Phillip Rivers to Colts? How do you feel that you called it?
Well, I'll tell you what. Phillip Rivers to the Chargers was thought about on a plane ride down to New Orleans, I think. I think it was down in New Orleans. It was in October. And, no. Brady to the Colts. Rivers to the Colts was just a couple weeks ago. Brady to the Chargers, though, was on a plane ride down to New Orleans whenever we were doing our show out of a box truck before the Tulane game. And we're on a plane, and we're like, it had just come out that Tom Brady is going to be an unrestricted free agent after the year or something like that. It was his decision. Some news broke, and we had nothing to do, and we had no Wi-Fi on the plane that we were on. So we were forced to talk to each other. So it's like it's a very weird time. So as we were getting on the plane, we saw the news. Then we hop into, basically just a tunnel in the middle of the sky, which none of us understand, flying 300 miles an hour. We flew on 6 planes a week this year for 4 months, and I still don't have a clue how those things get in the air. It makes no sense. I understand that there's some science they'll tell you there's an up thing, and it makes no sense to me. But while we were flying in this tunnel, with no outside contact and no Wi-Fi, we started talking about it, and we were like, what would be a place that needs them? And the first thought was the Chargers couldn't sell out the StubHub Center in Los Angeles, and if they're going to move to a new stadium and Phillip Rivers is potentially done, we're like, that just seems like the right fit. He lives there in the off season, that just feels like the right fit. So if he ends up at the Chargers, we'll feel very confident about that call in October because it was a vitamin conversation on a plane. But boy, it feels like he's going to be with the Buccaneers. It just feels as if the Buccaneers is the place to go for him because he said it's not about the money, it's about the championships. I feel like if he gets Antonio Brown on that wide receiver core, this is what we're going to talk about probably an hour or two at some point. That offense is going to be incredible. Godwin, Evans, Antonio Brown, that tight end. And then you got Tom Brady there running the thing with Bruce Arians and Clyde Christensen coaching. good defense. That feels like the right spot. And you're not in the AFC, so you don't have to mess around with Mahomes, Lamar, or Belichick. I mean, it just feels like that's the right play. But if he goes there, we feel good. And Rivers to the Colts, we felt really good about that. Just because it's a great place to raise a family. And you know what Philip Rivers loves? Family. Oh, yeah. Family. Got a lot of children. All right, we got to come back to our radio show here in like 50 seconds. So Chase Rice will be then. So if you can take a quick leak, go ahead and do that. We appreciate you.
That was YouTube questions.
It's the perfect occasion for a little vacation from the heart of the nation. Not your medication, 2 hours of magic. Let's give it a go. Ladies and gents, it's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show.
You're damn right it is Chase Rice. You know Chase Rice from singing country music and also being on The Bachelor, where his ex-girlfriend went on a private date with another guy and he had to sing to them. Welcome to the Pat McAfee Show. Happy St. Patrick. Chase Rice is a G, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
And he's about to be very famous and very rich. And he gave us that intro for free, and that'll never happen again. So we're going to hang on to that for a while. Welcome to the Pat McAfee Show here. Happy St. Patrick's Day. And although this is not a normal St. Patrick's Day, obviously with the state of the world and the affairs of things that are going on with old Mr. COVID-19, the NFL news is very hot right now. I mean, free agency conversation and chatter has just been taken to another level this morning with a social media post by Tom Brady saying he is officially out of New England. Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk said that he thought that was potentially to send a message to other teams like, hey, I am definitely leaving New England. Feel free to come make a real offer. It has already been reported that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Chargers are ready to offer him near $30 million. The Buccaneers have come out and basically said they'll give him roster control, team control, you name it. He's got Mike Evans down there. They got Godwin down there. It is alleged that he and Antonio Brown are really close friends, so you bring Antonio Brown onto that team. You got Bruce Arians, an older coaching staff that's been there, done that, a good defense. The Buccaneers are automatically already contenders. The New England Patriots, nobody has a clue what they're going to do. They don't have enough salary cap for anything. But as of about 2 minutes ago, Ian Rappaport from NFL Network, how does he not have all the inside information, by the way? He works for the NFL Network.
That's a good question.
You know, him and like Schefter breaks a lot of news.
Mm-hmm.
And Woj even dips his toes into the football news breaking world. Rappaport breaks a lot of news, but he's with the NFL. The fact that he gets beat is very interesting to me because that means the agents from the other side are probably leaking all the information.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, something to think about. But Ian Rappaport at Rap Sheet says, big news, based on the previous discussions between the Panthers organization and Cam Newton's agents, it has been agreed upon to allow Cam and his agency to seek a trade, other details to follow. Congratulations to Cam Newton. There was a story going around Combine time that Matt Rule and the Carolina Panthers were moving forward as if Cam Newton was going to be their starting quarterback. There was a workout that they wanted to have because all anybody could talk about is the Carolina Panthers trading up to the number one pick to get Joe Brady and Joe Burrow teamed up again and have Joe Burrow be a Carolina Panther. Now, is that back in play and are those conversations starting right back up now that the Carolina Panthers and the Cam Newton's agents have let it out that they're going to seek a trade? Boy, go ahead and turn those all the way back up to 1,000. Because the Carolina Panthers, if they are trading away Cam Newton or are willing to trade away Cam Newton, they do not have a quarterback anymore. They drafted Will Grier. They had Kyle Allen. Both had some success, but I don't think anybody's viewing them as a starting quarterback, especially if you're a coach. You just got a 7-year deal worth like $70 million or something like that. You want to start fresh with your guy. You hire Joe Brady, Joe Burrow's offensive coordinator in college. Everybody automatically links the two. Are they going to try to make that play? Possibly. But now for Cam Newton, where is he going to go? There's only some places that are left open. Marcus Mariota signs what we assume is a backup contract with the Las Vegas Raiders. Are they looking for a quarterback? Chicago Bears yesterday were thinking about Nick Foles. They were thinking about Andy Dalton. They were thinking about every quarterback possible was allegedly on the table for the Bears yesterday. Are they thinking maybe Cam Newton comes to Chicago? Will Ryan Pace, the general manager that drafted Mitchell Trubisky over Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson, say, hey, I made a mistake here. Let's get another quarterback? Or will Cam Newton end up at the Los Angeles Chargers, which feel like they need a quarterback? They feel like LA is a great place for Cam Newton. Cam Newton, by the way, is a celebrity that you could sell tickets around in the Chargers uniform in the Chargers new stadium. It feels like that's inevitably going to happen. And I don't want to say we said it first, but I mean, right now we just said it very loudly.
Mark it down.
Mark it down. I think Cam Newton's going to end up with the Chargers if Tom Brady signs with the Bucs, which I think is going to happen. Ultimately landing Andy Dalton in New England because they can't pay any other quarterbacks. Phillip Rivers is basically a done deal to the Colts. Now what are the Chicago Bears going to do? Nobody knows.
And to add to the story, 2 minutes ago from Diana Rossini, the Carolina Panthers are showing very strong interest in quarterback Teddy Bridgewater. I'm told the conversations have been going very well.
Okay, so maybe Teddy goes to Carolina because maybe Carolina tried to get that Cincinnati pick, and Cincinnati said, no matter how hard you guys are going to try to make us make a Cincinnati Bengals-like decision and trade out of drafting our franchise player for the next 20 years, we're not going to do it. Teddy Bridgewater, player that I completely forgot about being on the market right now, who's a very good football player. Good for Matt Rule, finding a guy in Teddy B if that's the case. Now, Jameis Winston still on the market right now. What is Jameis Winston going to do? Where does he fall to if Tom Brady takes the Buccaneers role? Diggs just put a finger right up in the sky. Excited to hear what that was. Because you literally pointed at a light bulb that was going above your brain.
I was pointing northeast, but I don't know how they could pay Jameis.
New England?
Yeah.
Trade Tooney. That's the only way. We just tagged
sign
him.
and trade, yeah.
Yeah, tag and trade, then bring in Jameis.
You would want Jameis over Teddy Bridgewater or any other quarterback that's potentially on the market right now?
I don't think we have enough for Teddy. I would think we only clear like 6 or 14 or 15 if we get rid of Tooney. That's not even 20 mil.
So how do you think that's
you
enough
rework
for
some
Jameis?
contracts?
Yeah, for Jameis, I mean, Jameis is going to drop. No one's going to pay him 30. So
everything that everybody was saying about Tom Brady the other day, whenever the Raiders and Titans made moves, and the Niners came out and said that his market's drying up. Like I couldn't even fathom right now what is happening with Jameis Winston's market, especially now that Cam Newton's on it. You know what I mean? I mean, unless. I don't think Matt Rule is going to start his career with the Panthers with Jameis Winston, guy who threw 30 interceptions last year. Jameis Winston, very talented. Obviously, everybody knows he's very talented. Threw for 5,000 yards in the NFL. That is massive. But that 30 interceptions thing is going to go a long way whenever people have to ultimately whip out a checkbook and say, all right, I'm going to put $90 million on this guy. That's a massive decision. And I don't know if anybody's going to do it. I don't know if anybody's going to do it.
We talked about it. We've been talking about it for weeks that there's not enough seats. Someone's going to be left out.
But also, I mean, we never thought anybody would trade DeAndre Hopkins for a second-round pick, and that's it.
Would Ron Rivera be up for a reunion with Cam?
Ooh, Train Dewey?
Yeah, because unless that was all a smokescreen.
It could have been.
Which it felt like, I mean, Ron Rivera came on our show, and he said that Dwayne Haskins and Alex Smith competing is okay by him. He does not mind that. I think he mentioned somebody at Carolina competing with him. Then he mentioned what Alex Smith did with Patrick Mahomes. He said, I would not mind that at all with Dwayne Haskins. And I was intrigued by that because I thought it would have been potentially the time to let Dwayne Haskins know it's his team and kind of let's go forward with him. Because towards the end of the season, I thought Dwayne Haskins played, considering the circumstances of the Washington Redskins, which, by the way, is a dumpster fire. I mean, Ron Rivera will change. I mean, Ron Rivera will be able to change that because I think he's a guy that, commands attention and respect, and if he wants things to happen, it'll happen. But by all accounts, with the Gruden guy and the other Gruden and the last president, Bruce or whatever his name was,
Bruce Allen,
that was a dumpster fire by all accounts. Now, Ron Rivera said he went in there and talked to Snyder, and it was a different story, and obviously Obama met with him as well to recruit him there, but it feels like Ron Rivera could turn that around. I just thought with the way Dwayne Haskins played while being in the middle of a terrible organization that had already fired a coach that everybody knew was on their way out, and a laughing stock almost, I thought it'd be like, hey, this is our guy. And then this year they were talking about maybe they take two with the Redskins, but maybe they do this. So I don't know what the hell they're going to do. Maybe Cam Newton is somebody they're thinking about.
Just reminded that Joe Brady, before LSU, he was with the Saints staff where he was with Teddy for a year.
Oh, yeah. So he knows Teddy, and Teddy knows the offense then too.
Is Brissett on the trade block if they get Rivers?
I don't think so.
Keep him?
What's he going back to New England?
I don't know. I was just.
They don't have enough to pay him. They'd have to restructure the contract because I think he got 20. I think he's up for 20.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd have to get him down to what, 9 if you wanted money for hurt, or you have to get him down to 8 maybe?
Yeah, 9 or 10, right in that range. But I mean, the Wolf Pack is strong, and NC State with Phil and Jacoby, he'll probably want to stick with his boy.
So you think Phil
Rivers? I don't think there's any chance the Jacoby leaves the Colts.
Oh, you think NC State Phil Rivers?
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that tie in together. How many years difference though? 2 decades.
Yeah, just about. But
Philip
the
Rivers-
the Wolf Pack is strong though.
We got to get to a break. So much is happening right now. So much is happening. Amari Cooper, 5-year, $100 million deal with the Cowboys. Dak Prescott, franchise tag by the Cowboys for $33 million a year or $33 million for next year. Everybody's thinking he's not going to sign it. Insanity. I couldn't fathom. I mean, I'm happy for him if he does. But look at a $33 million piece of paper and say, nah, I'm not signing my name on that. That takes so much gutsack. So much gutsack, I couldn't fathom it.
We got big news out of Detroit. Big signing for the Lions.
Who's that?
Chase Daniel. 3-year deal.
Oh, what about Blau?
That's our guy.
What about David Blau? Drew Blau. What's his name?
David Blau. You
David
right.
Blau.
You got it.
Nailed it. Chase Daniel, by the way.
How much was that for?
9.
3-year, $13 million deal.
How much guaranteed?
It doesn't say. It's from Schefter.
Matt Patricia knows.
Hey.
So you're telling me the Patriots can't afford Chase Daniel?
Chase Daniel, friend of the show. Matt Patricia, friend of the show. Amendola, friend of the show. I mean, we got to love the Lions here.
Good luck, Chase.
I'll tell you what.
Win.
I'll tell you what. I think I like the Colts and Phillip Rivers a lot until we find out if Phillip Rivers could throw a ball or not.
Mm-hmm.
Last year he didn't look great, but I think he was in a position where he knew they were bad and was just like, eh. It was like Kobe in his last year. Kobe was shooting. He played against the Pacers. I think he shot maybe 95 times. I would do it too. Their team stunk. He was just like, here I go. I wonder if that's what Phillip Rivers was last year. I don't know.
Outside of a weapon, it feels like the Colts have gotten much better in the last few days.
Does it?
Like, much better.
Oh, you traded the 13th pick for a D tackle? What a stupid move. And then you sit back, you're like, oh, the guy's 6'7", and he gets sacks at D tackle. Huh. That's probably a smart move. Who would we picked up at 13? Nah. Not DeForest Buckner, I bet.
Yeah.
I just saw that they've been working on that trade since, what was rumored or whatever, that since the Super Bowl.
Where did it start at, I wonder?
It's a long time.
What, do they
For
have
nothing.
one conversation a month? What takes so long? All right, we're back on the other side with Lorenzo Alexander, who played linebacker in the NFL for like 13 years or something like that.
Mhm.
Is that right?
I don't know if it was 13, but it was a long time.
Long
I think it was
time.
more than that.
Long time. Bills legend, great talker. Can't wait to chat with him. Lorenzo Alexander's on the other side. You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show.
get it. Let's go. Dream house is a tour bus. Scream loud that you knew us. Deep down on the new plug. You ain't about to get too dust. Pete's frown when they crew scrubs. Sweet sound from the two subs. Beats loud as a move, bruh. Leave the crowd like, ooh, what? Long hair on the big body. 210s, both sitting shoddy. Crack a fist, start getting rowdy. Blowing nose, looking like an Audi. It's Uncle Sam, but without the taxes. Crowd stands up, I keep them loud. I made this beat, you hear it smacking? Who is 30? Hand me a nap. You probably wasn't expecting this.
You want to fornicate with me? You either get on the train or you're laying on the tracks getting run over. It's their sandbox. You gotta play by their rules. But at some point, Goodell has to come out and be like, yo, kick him out of the league. I do not get cramps in my hands when I'm writing checks.
He definitely deserves an apology, and that's my bad on that.
Work-life balance a load of crap. He's taking a bunch of average Joes.
Some of these younger guys, they're so confident in their ability that they don't think they need any advice.
Like, what are you doing? You don't see the best teams doing that.
It's just finding a way to be better today than you were yesterday. One bad decision can affect the rest of your life.
Come on, Chicago! Let's hug it out, you little bitches!
If I would have had Aaron Donald at D tackle, they couldn't even line up and play football.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Our essence is not infinite. Let's make our todays better than our yesterdays, because we truly have no idea if tomorrow will ever come. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Your insane St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day to all of you. Absolutely insane day in the NFL world. Free agency moves happening. Tom Brady saying he's leaving the Patriots. Drew Brees is allegedly signing for 2 years, $50 million. Phillip Rivers is allegedly a done deal to the Indianapolis Colts. Teddy Bridgewater's being targeted by the Carolina Panthers, who are now shopping Cam Newton. Andy Dalton is trending on the internet right now, mostly because everybody assumes that's probably who the Patriots are going to end up with, because there's a guy that would love to get to a winning organization, and potentially they could afford him because the salary cap for the New England Patriots is all but zero. All but zero. With the toughest schedule, they say, in the NFL next year. Patriots fans are about to do some adversity. They'll handle it well. Just like they handled their success, they'll handle it graciously and with a lot of humility.
Absolutely.
Joining us now is a man who played in the NFL for 13 years, was a linebacker for the Buffalo Bills, All-Pro. Ladies and gentlemen, Lorenzo Alexander.
What's going on?
Lorenzo, are you keeping up with any of this insanity today? This is a madhouse right now on the internet.
Yeah, it's crazy what's going on right now in the NFL. Obviously, after we ratified the CBA, the legal and tampering period started. And obviously, with the nature of our country right now, this is a little bit of a relief and a distraction what's going on. And so I've been kind of glued to it, doing some media out here locally in Phoenix as well. And so it's been really cool to kind of still be involved and hear about all the chaos that's kind of going down in the NFL world.
You're out in Arizona right now. Is that where you live full time? Yeah?
Yeah, we're out in Phoenix, Paradise Valley area.
Hey, Cliff Kingsbury just fleeced Billy O'Brien.
I know, that right?
Hey, that was would you have ever expected that DeAndre Hopkins for 2 years, for a second rounder and on the trading block for 2 years?
No, he's arguably one of the best receivers in the game, if not the best. I mean, over the last 3 years, we've, top in receiving yards, tops in touchdowns, tops in catches. And so for him to be even thought about being tradable with a up-and-coming, obviously Deshaun Watson and what they've been able to do, you would never think about trading your top premier player or 1A, 1B, however you want to look at it, for all those picks and then a running back. And so it's just crazy that he even thought about doing that. But I know the Cardinals, I know everybody out here is extremely happy because now you pair Hopkins with Kyler Murray, and then obviously Larry Legend, Fitzgerald, and having Keon Drake in the backfield. So they're very excited about what their offense is going to be able to do this year.
I'm so confused by Billy O'Brien. Is DeAndre Hopkins a guy that, as a linebacker and as a defense, you have to completely prepare for? Like, is he a guy that's he's a guy.
We played him the last 2 out of the 3 years that I undershined, and every time we played him, he was a guy that we put up on our board and said we have to stop this guy in order to win this game. And so I don't understand it. I don't understand what went on. You know, anytime that things happen like this, it's normally a relationship issue. But talking to guys that I know around him, they love him as a teammate, but maybe him and O'Brien have gotten into it.
You know, I'm sure the fact that an entire defense has to circle a guy on a board and say we have to stop this guy. I'm sure Bill O'Brien will find a guy in the second round that'll do that. I'm sure. I'm sure he'll find a guy.
Doubt it. Right.
Yeah.
The first round.
I'm sure he'll find it, but that's so. Now Tom Brady, a man that you had to square off against a lot, makes it official this morning on social media, saying he is not coming back to the New England Patriots after an evening at Robert Kraft's house last night. I'm sure that was awesome, by the way. I couldn't fathom a night with Robert Kraft, but him leaving there, this changes the culture, especially with Stefon Diggs landing with the Bills. This changes the AFC East completely. Kyle Van Noy's with the Dolphins. It's a whole new world.
Right.
Now.
Yeah, I know Bills Mafia was celebrating all last night. They were disregarding the social distancing ban, just celebrating what was going on because of Tom Brady. I mean, they really had to put up with him for the last 20 years. During that time, the Bills being down, and obviously Tom Brady and the Patriots dominating the NFC East and winning multiple championships. So I know everybody's ecstatic that he's gone now. And there's a glimpse of hope, especially with the Bills organization, as you mentioned, being able to trade for Stefon Diggs, bringing in Mario Addison, and really trying to get that extra oomph they need to get over the hump and make some real noise next year in the playoffs and make a run for the title.
I did not know Hitstick signed up there. Mario Addison was a teammate of mine at the Colts.
Yeah, awesome dude.
Awesome.
Mario. I mean, I had him in Washington for part of the season. So great dude. Have a lot of respect for him. He's been productive. I think he's like top 3 in Carolina's all-time sack leaders, and so that's something they definitely will need and will utilize there in Washington, on top of him being a great dude, too.
Great dude. Big fan of his. Now, the Carolina Panthers, they're shopping Cam Newton all of a sudden. What does Cam Newton like to play against? And if Cam Newton is back to having a chip on his shoulder and trying to prove everybody wrong and healthy, what type of player can Cam Newton be somewhere?
Well, that's key. He has to have the chip on the shoulder, has to be focused, has to be a professional and locked in to get geared. I think maybe some of the success has kind of deterred him from some of that. But like every player, sometimes we need a wake-up call. I know I needed one when I went undrafted, got cut, just to get back to what got you there in the first place. Because when he's hitting on all cylinders, he's a monster. You can't tackle him. I mean, I've been stiff-armed by him. He has a shotgun for an arm. He's just a very versatile quarterback, obviously in a day and age where the more you can do is definitely better. And so he creates a lot of different issues when he's locked in and rocking and rolling and completely healthy.
Man, I watched him maestro an entire city down there in Charlotte on a Monday Night Football game against us. It was insane to watch. He was on that was his MVP year, I think, whatever he made. He was awesome to watch. Now,
yeah, he's dominant.
Yeah, now the Carolina Panthers are allegedly talking to Teddy Bridgewater, and they're big fans of his. Everybody has talked about, aside from Tom Brady, obviously, and Dak Prescott, who is obviously franchise tag with Dallas, Teddy Bridgewater is going to be the hottest name in this market. What makes Teddy Bridgewater so good, and why do you think the Carolina Panthers, who have a new coaching staff, would want to move forward with him?
I think it's just want to have a fresh start. I don't know if there's a relationship there. I mean, obviously Teddy's been in the league for a while now, and he's been a solid, consistent quarterback, playing behind Drew Brees at times and really learning. And he's just been consistent, and people probably like him and knowing he's a professional. I haven't had really the pleasure of playing against him that much, maybe once, just because of his injury history. So that would be the only thing that would scare me if I was going all in on a guy like Teddy Bridgewater.
Okay, he's leaving the New Orleans Saints. It just came out that Drew signed a 2-year, $50 million deal. Have you thought about teaching any of your children how to play quarterback? Because way into their 40s, they're getting broken off.
That's what I'm doing this whole time. We're obviously homeschooling. Our schools are shut down here in Phoenix, but every morning we have quarterback school. So I'm going out there teaching them how to take snaps, how to do a 3-step drop, 5-step drop, 7-step, make some reads. Be patient, telling him how much time he has in the pocket. So I'm working with both of my sons. I have a a 9 and a 5-year-old, and so that's one of the focuses during this time that we have at home together.
Hey, they'll learn more in that backyard than they will in any book. I'll tell you that. The thought about Tom Brady, the Buccaneers and Chargers have both allegedly said they'll pay him $30 million. Now, you got Patriots fans completely turning their back on Tom Brady. I mean, in a vicious way. The internet right now on Tom Brady from Patriots fans is bad. Explain to people why Tom Brady is so good. Rex Ryan went on and said, hey, whenever we played the Patriots without Tom Brady, we won 16-0 or whatever. Whenever we played
we did. I was part of that team.
Yeah, so he said he shut him out and everything. He said, but with Tom Brady, it's a whole different story. What makes Tom Brady so damn good?
I mean, he's a transcendent player in this, that he's built up I think the biggest thing is that he's built up a mystique with his success over the years that a lot of young guys, especially in the league now, watch Tom Brady instead of focusing on their job. So that's one thing. People go into the game already mentally beat. Besides that, the dude is smart, intelligent. I would put him up there with Peyton Manning. People don't often think of Tom Brady as being a cerebral player like Peyton Manning, but the dude knows everything, what the defense is doing, how they're going to attack him. And then they do a good job of attacking certain players and weaknesses and staying true. And I think his goal at the end of the day is always about winning games. So he's willing to turn down throwing a 300, 400-yard game if that means that Sony Michel is going to get 250 and they get the dub. He's all about wins. And so playing against him these last 4 years and seeing that up close, that's what has made him great. It's not about setting records. It's about winning championships for him, and that's to his core.
You think you drop him in any place they're going to have success, like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, for instance? They have Mike Evans, Godwin, and potentially Antonio Brown and a good tight end. Do you think they automatically have success and are automatically contenders?
Of course, and I had the pleasure of playing with Bruce Arians in Arizona when I was a free agent back in 2013, and so he loves older quarterbacks that are well-renowned. Obviously, he's worked with Peyton Manning. We actually traded for Carson Palmer that year and became a real contender. And so the window's obviously going to be short because Tom is a little bit older. But the way Bruce Arians coaches, he'll definitely utilize Tom Brady's assets along with all those weapons that he has around him and definitely make a push this year and next year, if Tom decides he wants to play for 2 more seasons or so.
Who do you think the Chargers end up with? If they potentially get Cam Newton, you think that's a guy that could sell tickets for them?
Of course. I mean, obviously, Cam is very marketable. Everybody loves him. He's very engaging with fans, does a great job. But at the end of the day, you have to win games, especially going to L.A. If you're not winning, it doesn't really matter. So he'll obviously spark interest early. And obviously, last couple of years ago, the team was very dynamic and was actually a Super Bowl contender. And so if they can get back to that and add, obviously, what Cam brings personality-wise, L.A. is going to fall in love with him and praise that team.
Hey, Lorenzo, 2-time Pro Bowler, All-Pro, 13 years in the NFL. I appreciate you so much for your time, brother.
Always, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Are your kids calling you Mr. Alexander because you're teaching them at home? Or what are they?
No, they're actually tired of me. They're trying to get out of the house because I don't take it easy on my kids. I go all in. I'm hard. I'm a hard coach, old school.
Hey, hate me now, love me later.
Love me later, right.
All right, I'll talk to you, ladies and gentlemen. Lorenzo Alexander.
All right, brother.
All right. Great conversation there with Lorenzo. Tom Brady doesn't get talked about as a cerebral guy much. You know what I mean? It's always like Tom Brady's the most competitive guy. He's always this. Peyton will outwork you, outstudy you, the whole thing. Now to hear a guy who had to play against him a lot at middle linebacker, so you had to look at this guy's eyes a lot. He's like, that dude was people say he's not smart. I beg to differ. I'm excited to see what Tom Brady does, man. He ends up with that Buccaneers team. That would be a show every single weekend. That would be those numbers would be ridiculous. Jameis throws 5,000, right? Jameis, nobody knows where he's going to end up at. But if Tom Brady gets down there and Bruce and all of them start working, just a quick game even, and then plus the deep balls, you got Antonio Brown potentially.
He might go for 8,000.
Oh, my God. And then he's breaking all these records as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer, by the way. Not as a Patriot, as a Buccaneer. Oh, man.
Breeze's records in his division.
Oh, man. Let's get some phones. Let's go to Matt in Oregon. What up, Matt?
Good morning, boys. Good morning. Hope you guys are all having a good day. But I just want to talk about how the NFL has brought such light into our lives during such a down time, it seems like, in the world.
I couldn't hear a word he was saying. No. And Connor, did you mean to just speak right on top of that guy?
Well, he said, I hope you're all having a good day. And Matt knows.
He does know.
Let's go to Chris in New York, the AFC East he wants to talk about. What do you want to say, pal? Wide open, everybody's saying.
It's wide open, and the Jets are coming for the crown. We have Sam Darnold. He's not going to be – he's not going to have mono this year. He's staying low, not catching the corona. You don't hear anything about the Jets right now in the news. We're just staying healthy. We're going to fucking play the –
Oh, jeez.
Can't do it. Can't do it, Chris.
New York, man.
We're just staying quiet. Nobody's talking about us. Nobody cares. Everybody knows. Same old story with us. We're going to stink. The Jets, man, I hope they're good. I like Le'Veon Bell a lot. He's one of my favorite football players to watch. Let's get to a break, and then whenever we get back on the other side, we'll do some phone calls, and we'll wrap up this beautiful St. Patrick's Day from the NFL. I know the world is potentially burning down.
Yeah.
Costco lines are at an all-time long. There's riots happening, I guess, in Los Angeles for toilet paper. People are being told not to leave the house. Don't go to work.
Inmates are escaping.
Inmates in Brazil are just jogging, just a light jog by the thousands out of a jail, just jogging right out. But I want to let you know right here at the Pat McAfee Show, we will continue to do Big J journalist stuff and cover this NFL free agency frenzy like it should be covered. Which is like it's a one big joke. That's what it feels like. This feels like we're in a movie right now. Might as well enjoy it. It's going to be a story someday. We're back on the other side of this Pat McAfee Show.
It's happening. People are freeing themselves from their wireless contracts. It's a movement towards something simple. Get truly unlimited data on a 5G-ready network for just $45 a month, with no contract ever. Simple Mobile. Out with the old, in with the simple.
Texans are trading DeAndre Hopkins to Arizona, per source.
Wow.
From Adam Schefter.
Shit. Okay.
Kyler Murray. Larry Fitzgerald's back again.
Hey, that offense started cooking late in the year, too. They were a problem for people. They were a real problem for people. DeAndre Hopkins going to Arizona is kind of a buzzkill for me, though. Now, unless Arizona is going to make a big run at the playoffs, I thought he could have been like a reason why a team goes from boom to bang. I think the Cardinals have a lot more to fix, like potentially on the defensive side of the ball. But if he would end up with, let's say, the Colts or the Packers or another team that needs the Patriots who need a weapon, he's like one player that could have taken somebody right over the motherfucking hump. And now in Arizona, it's like, oh, we still got some time.
Yeah, he is that kind of player, but you never know with Arizona, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Chandler Jones somehow gets like the quietest, 18 sacks last year. The dude's a monster.
So good, by the way.
What's that?
He's so good.
Yeah, and it's almost like it didn't happen for some reason. He didn't get the pub he deserved, so he's a stud. They have some good players out there. Patrick Peterson's still around, but yeah, what didn't you think? Wasn't there rumors that Hopkins possibly could have gone to Green Bay?
Yeah, if he goes to back, I floated that out on the show this morning, and a writer for The Athletic for the Green Bay Packers basically summarized me and Michael Lombardi's conversation about it, floating out the idea of the Pack potentially being a place for him to go, and that thing got real traction in Green Bay, and I don't think Packers fans are normally on board with a lot of shit. They were on board with that. I think Green Bay needs a weapon desperately, and their fans know it, though.
Yeah, they definitely could use somebody out there with Devontae Adams. He was banged up a little bit this year and was super productive. So DeAndre Hopkins would have been a huge help, but at what price? Like, what would you have had to give up?
I have full details on the deal. It's DeAndre Hopkins and a 4th-round pick going to the Cardinals, David Johnson and a 2nd-round pick this year, and a 4th-round pick next year going to the Texans.
So it's a 2nd-round pick. It was a 2nd round. Now, David Johnson, he could, I guess, turn it on like he used to be, which, by the way, thank you, Diggs, for that update. The David Johnson, you remember him like 3 years? Was it 3 years ago? He took over the world. 3 years ago? 4 years ago? He took over the world. He was everything. He was the next guy, David Johnson. Then he got hurt. I think he broke his wrist or something, and then something else happened. He's kind of been gone for the last couple of years. But if he comes back, I guess this is a mighty move for the Texans. But it sounds like this is just a 2nd-round move.
Well, yeah, he was a 2nd and a 4th the following year, I guess, when you look at the whole thing. But David Johnson, the Cardinals were kind of stuck with his giant contract that they paid him, and he became the backup behind Kenyon Drake.
Yeah.
So
hold on,
they couldn't cut him either. That's the thing. Have you seen their his contract? They couldn't cut him. They'd eat a ton of money.
Kenyon Drake just got transition tagged.
Yeah.
Transition tagged today by the Cardinals as well. So obviously the Cardinals are ready to move on from the David Johnson era. They are able to get rid of him and get one of the most I mean, that's Arizona Cardinals, by the way. I don't know if they get talked about often for making good moves. This feels like a good move for the Arizona Cardinals.
That's when you say it, when you actually you hear it back, man, that it's an amazing move for the Cardinals because they were kind of stuck with his contract, David Johnson, even though he could still be a great player in the league, but he kind of became the backup. You don't want, if he's not your bell cow back taking every single rep pretty much and catching balls on third down out of the backfield, you don't want to be having to pay a guy over $10 million.
Let's remember, Billy O just appointed himself officially the general manager recently. This is his first real move since anointing himself officially general manager. I feel like he just got beat by the high schooler Cliff Kingsbury a little bit.
Look good, feel good, play good.
Play good, pay good, live good, die good. Ladies and gentlemen, this ad was sold for $47. A reading by Zeno.
Thank you, Pat.
No problem.
The perfect hire can have an impact on your business for years to come. So when you need to find the next person to help you grow your business, I read that wrong. LinkedIn Jobs will match the right talent with your open role fast. Hosts, please explore the LinkedIn Job platform. What features on LinkedIn Jobs do you think are more valuable? LinkedIn has over 675 million members worldwide.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I know. Good job, guys. LinkedIn Jobs screen candidates with the hard and soft skills you're looking for so you can hire the right person fast.
What is a soft skill?
Let me go to the next line and tell you about them. Things like collaboration, creativity, adaptability. LinkedIn looks beyond the work skills and puts your job post in front of qualified candidates who match your business requirements perfectly.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah. You want to know more?
Please, tell me more.
You got it. That's how LinkedIn makes your job post is seen by the people you want to hire. People with the skills, qualifications, and other interests that will help your business grow. This is underlined, so I have to read it.
Yep.
It's no wonder a person is hired every 8 seconds with LinkedIn.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Want me to call some action?
Please.
You got it. Find the right person for your business today with LinkedIn Jobs. You can pay what you want and get the first $50 off. Just visit linkedin.com/Pat. Again, that's linkedin.com/Pat to get $50 off your first job post. Terms and conditions apply.
Thank you, Zeno. That was really good. They only paid for a minute, but they got 3. Ain't that right?
Oh, yeah.
That a boy, Z. Z just got done with a battle alongside Billy Tubes, taking on the porn bots that invaded our YouTube comment section. Zeno was up there with an AR-15 and one of them, what are those guns? Gatling gun in the YouTube comments, taking down porn bots that tried to assassinate our comment section.
There's a Joanne in here right now. I can see her by adding her. I'm calling her out right now. Don't come in here.
Well, the porn bot can't hear you, I don't think.
I actually don't know how they work.
By the way, me neither. I know they were potentially used against us in the finals of a podcast bracket championship challenge thing that we lost. By the way, everything must go. We had championship shirts made. Now they'll be 25% off as soon as we get them up on the site because we pre-ordered them. We were wrong. We lost. Let's get to Brian in Alabama. Brian, what's going on, pal?
What's going on, guys? How are y'all?
Hey, roll tide down there.
No. Auburn, Alabama. War Damn Eagle.
Okay, that's on me. Honestly,
So my question is, so Lamar Jackson won the MVP in year 2. Patrick Mahomes won MVP in year 2. Carson Wentz was going to win MVP in year 2, but he zigged instead of zagged and tore his ACL. My question is, what player from last year's rookie class is winning MVP this year?
Who cares? Great question. I mean, I like that he did that insight and that deep thing, but that is not second-year players are not the conversation right now. The conversation right now are old players that are moving. Speaking of old player that's potentially moving, and he's not that old, he potentially has a lot of football left in him. Cam Newton. In the comments section of an Instagram post by the Carolina Panthers, the Carolina Panthers say, we have given Cam Newton permission to seek a trade. Cam Newton directly under that responds in his style of speaking English, stop with the wordplay. I never asked for it. There is no dodge in this one. I love the Panthers to death and will always love you guys. Please do not try and play me or manipulate the narrative and act like I wanted this. You forced me into this. One love, says Cam Newton. Cam Newton now getting into Instagram comment beefs with the Carolina Panthers. Let's assume they're not going to end up together this year. He might be seeking a trade, but he's definitely not playing for the Panthers next year. He wants the world to know that although the PR campaign in these types of situations is normally dominated by the NFL team, saw it with Dallas, with Dak Prescott's deal. This is what we offered him. It was the wealthiest deal of all time. You see it in other places. We tried to do this. Robert Kraft called Stephen A. Smith this morning in a commercial break at First Take and said it wasn't because we didn't want him. It was because Tom didn't want. Now you got Cam Newton fighting back saying, no, you didn't give me permission. You told me to start seeking a trade. What an interesting little dynamic down there. New coach Matt Rule, new Carolina Panthers. If Cam Newton ends up with the Los Angeles Chargers, which everybody is assuming is going to happen, and the Carolina Panthers end up with Teddy Bridgewater, who Joe Brady, their new offensive coordinator, was with at the Saints a couple years ago, or if they end up trading with Cincinnati Bengals somehow and getting that first pick and getting Joe Burrow, it's a win-win for everybody. But this could potentially get a little bit ugly, as most breakups do.
Yeah, it's interesting that he had to do this because Greg Olsen had to come out and do the same thing, that he did not want to leave Carolina. And it was them when they said that.
Hey, new organization, new front office probably, new coach, new owner. It's like, hey, thanks for all your time. It happens. It happens in a lot of places. It happens in colleges whenever there's a new coach or a new administration. It happens in the NFL when there's a new coach or administration. These are things that I was told that there was no loyalty to me because that particular group of people didn't draft me. I was told that. And I was like 24 years old, and I was like, oh, is that right? Well, there's no loyalty between us either. You can go fornicate yourself. And then I got franchise tag the next day. So
gotcha.
That's good news. You're not going anywhere. Well, I guess there is a little bit of loyalty here. Wild times there right now. Wild times. Can't swear on the radio. Remember that if you get on. Let's go to Brandon down there in Pittsburgh. Brandon, what's going on?
Yo, what's up, Pat? I just want to thank you. Called Tom Brady to L.A. before any other human I know.
Thank you.
And I just want to talk about, like, AB, being a Steelers fan for sure. Like, that was a nightmare dealing with AB drama, but when he went to Tom Brady in the New England Patriots, and then he left with, like, messed up with Kraft, and Tom Brady wasn't happy about it. I mean, was that a case where Brady's like, I'm gone after AB, didn't want to stay there, or he couldn't stay there? And do you think it's a lock AB plays with Tom Brady next?
I think it is a lock. Tom Brady and AB are playing together next year. I think it's going to take a lot of selling by Tom Brady, and I think the NFL is going to have to allow Antonio Brown back in the league. But it feels as if Tom Brady heard the narrative people are pitching that Antonio Brown and Tom Brady are married, and then he quote tweeted Antonio Brown's like next tweet. Basically, if you know the internet game at all, was basically indicating like, hey, what you guys are hearing about me and AB being in contact and trying to move forward is true. So let's just assume that not only is Tom Brady going to go to a new place and have a chip on his shoulder, he's also getting potentially the best wide receiver in football immediately upon arrival. Now, the drama off the field is going to have to be something that the NFL is going to investigate and all that stuff. But I think Tom Brady, Bruce Arians, Clyde Christensen is another quarterback whisperer that's down there for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's been around Peyton for a long time. Angela, he's very good coach in the Indianapolis Colts. Very, very good. Him and Bruce Arians got tight. He's down there with him. Now, this is like a swan song for a lot of that coaching staff who's been there, done that with everything. They know how to handle personalities. They know how to handle situations. You got Tom Brady and Bruce Arians in there handling Antonio Brown. And by the way, it might not be handling Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown might just show up and understand, like, hey, this is a big deal. We have real opportunity here. I'm going to get right, do right, just like he did the Patriots. And then the alleged things happened off the field. He caught a lawsuit, and it all terribly disgusting things were alleged against him, and then he got fired. But if he can find another place, I feel like that's a good thing. So me calling Tom Brady to the Chargers, although it is currently still sitting on the board, it doesn't feel like that's going to happen. That feels like a long shot at this point. But he does live in LA in the offseason. You know, the Chargers do need a Tom Brady. They're saying $30 million is good. The Bruce Arians Buccaneers have come out and said, hey, roster control, whatever the hell you want. Let's just get you in the building, bud. Whatever you want to do. Hey, you want to transform our entire treatment room into a TB12 place? Go ahead. Hey, whatever the hell you want to do, pal. You want to eat avocado ice cream? We'll buy an avocado ice cream plant for you down here. Feels like the Buccaneers are ready to go all in for this guy. Or the Chargers? I don't know.
Before Godwin and Evans got hurt, they were 1-2 in the league in receiving yards. Godwin finished with almost 1,400, and Evans was 1,200. And if you add AB to that, that's just absurd.
Potentially the greatest wide receiver group in the history of the game, if that happens down there.
Yes.
And they'll be on television a lot more because Tom Brady will be their quarterback. So those two stats you just said, nobody knows. Nobody has a clue. Unless you watch, like, potentially NFL Red Zone all the time or highlight. Nobody sees the Tampa Bay Buccaneers outside because that's the Saints division. The Saints are the ones that get the national push in the NFC South. That's just the way it goes. Tom Brady goes there, though. That's front page every day. That's what we're going to have to talk about it literally every single day. Obligatory Cowboy talk is going to become obligatory Tom Brady Buccaneer best wide receiver threesome in the history of the game conversation.
Oh, my God.
And even if they do, if they get AB and he has to sit out 4, 6, or even 8 games, like they're going to be just fine with the weapons that they have there right now. So, I mean, I he's going. He's going.
I just don't see him being able to swallow his pride and his ego to go there, not get the ball, be possibly second, third string there. You know what I mean?
Third string.
He's not going to walk in there and take Mike Evans' job. He's not going to walk in there and take Chris Godwin's job.
Yeah, but they'll just drop sets where they're all on the field at the same time.
I know, but
he'll be in the backfield.
I don't see him being the guy who's not being the feature guy.
Bro, Antonio Brown is going to be the feature guy. If Antonio Brown is on the field, Antonio Brown's going to be the feature guy. I understand Mike Evans is very good. Very much understand that. But Antonio Brown is just a different animal. I mean, he's underneath routes. He's in a fly sweep, jet sweeps. He's everything. Antonio Brown is the guy. Look, he played, one game with the Patriots, and he got the ball 7 times in the first. I mean, it's just he's the guy, dude. He's always open.
He has to know that this is his last shot too. So like I think he's going to play ball no matter what. Otherwise, he's not going to be playing in the NFL after that.
Well, and then their third wide receiver Perriman got 70 targets, and their second tight end Brate got 50 targets. It's 120 targets that you could give to AB instead of those two guys.
Oh man, what a world! Tom Brady's about to just go rattle off some Super Bowl. I still think if he ended up with the Niners, they would have won potentially the next 4 Super Bowls. But with the Buccaneers, I don't know what their defense is. Because, to be honest, they weren't on TV. I mean, I watched their games, but I wasn't like I was paying attention because they were never a part of the conversation until Jameis got near that 30 for 30 club. You know what I mean? Until he got near that 30 interception thing. Then it became, the second half of the season was like, have you seen Jameis? Lightning rod to watch, man. He's throwing for thousands of yards. He's all over the place. But he's also throwing the ball over like 3-4 times a game. 3-4 times a game? Yeah, 3-4 times. It's possible in one quarter he could throw 5 interceptions, but he could throw 5 touchdowns too. It was like that was the conversation about the Buccaneers and Jameis Winston. And I think that type of PR probably not good for Jameis Winston going into this, but he was awesome to watch last year. Awesome to watch. You get Tom Brady in there who, by all accounts, Lorenzo Alexander, who had to play against him, has been a linebacker, said he's a cerebral guy too. That offense becomes the greatest show on turf all of a sudden again. Takes over for that Rams team. Remember back in the day, Kurt Warner and them, they were the greatest show on turf? Mm-hmm. Who was that white-haired guy, older guy?
Oh, Mike Martz?
Yeah, Mike Martz. What happened to him?
He went to Chicago, and him and Jay Cutler did not get along.
Jay Cutler, by the way. Has anybody ever flipped their PR image faster than Jay Cutler? Jay Cutler goes on a reality show, and everybody is in love with him. But whenever he was a quarterback for the Chicago Bears, the media hated him so bad they showed him at his worst moments at all times. And now it's like, anytime we can get Jay Cutler on TV, let's do it. Derek in Tennessee, what's up, dude?
Hey, man, just wanted to talk Diggs trade. I'm, really happy for him that he gets to go to a place where he gets to win immediately with the squandering Bills up in the even colder area. I'm just really happy for him that he got to throw those dramatics.
Derek sounds like he's has a little sarcasm in that. Sounds like a little sarcasm. Let's go to Chase in New Hampshire. Chase, I'm sure you're pumped up with the way this St. Patrick's Day has gone. Wake up beautiful.
Yeah, how's it going, Pat? Woke up this morning to a call from my mom, bawling her eyes out while she's at work. Ground zero here in New England. It's not looking good, all right? It's been 60 degrees the past couple of days, and today it snowed. I don't know what's going on. The pandemonium in the streets right now because Tom Brady left is scaring me more than the coronavirus.
Well, that's the problem, is you're not supposed to be in the streets. Of course, you guys up there in New England, you can't just handle devastating news in a safe fashion, against all of humanity. Now you guys got to go out, hug each other, kiss each other, bump hands in the streets? What are you guys doing up there, Connor?
All bets are off. Most people in New England want the coronavirus now. They do not want to be around to find out where Brady's going to land, and I can't blame them.
All right, let's get to the story of the week that is sponsored by Grainger. Let's take a look at the story with all the glory. This week, it's obviously Tom Brady to the Buccaneers. Warren Sharp at Sharp Football. Good Football Mind just tweeted, if you're talking about a defense suited to complement Tom Brady and give him a shot, this goes to exactly what I just asked about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. He said the Bucs defense were incredible in year one of Todd Bowles, who's their new defensive coordinator. Tampa Bay's D went from number 32 in the league to number 5 against a tougher schedule while spending $20 million in less cap space. Plus massive talent at receiver. He is right now currently on TB12 plane going to Tampa Bay where they canceled WrestleMania and saying, hey, listen, I know WrestleMania is getting canceled, but just a little heads up, GOAT's coming to town. Congrats, we're back into relevance in the football world. You remember when Gruden and Dungy and the boys were here? Hey, we're back. We are all the way back. Tom Brady's going to lead us to a Super Bowl or 4 down here in Tampa Bay. We're known for a couple things. Strip clubs, obviously, down in Tampa. We're known for a pirate ship is in our stadium. Mm-hmm. We're known for that. We're known for the glory days where Gruden really became Gruden, the mystique of Gruden. And now all of a sudden we're known for where Tom Brady broke every single NFL record, including Super Bowl rings record, which is probably inevitable here a couple years down the road. So good for Tom Brady. Good for the New England Patriots fans getting to be a part of that little story.
I believe they were number 1 in rushing defense too. I'll clarify that.
Well, if you got to play Drew Brees twice a year, I mean, that's probably going to affect you a little bit. I mean, that is a buzzsaw. Now, granted, they might have played Teddy Bridgewater one of those games, but that is an offense that you're going to have to stop at some point. I mean, so there are obviously challenges in that division, but going to the NFC, you stay away from Patty Mahomes, you stay away from Lamar Jackson. The only thing you got to run into is the team that you wanted to go to, which is San Francisco 49ers. And if the Packers get a weapon, so you got the OGs basically in the NFC, and then you got like the young guns in the AFC. It only makes sense that it's Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady in the Super Bowl next year. It only makes sense for the story. It only makes sense. Or Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
And Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. Hey, that'd be pretty dope. Good for Phillip Rivers, too. His legacy would be one that would be like, hey, he won some games. And it sucks for Chargers fans. If he goes and wins the Super Bowl with the Colts, you will never see him in a Chargers jersey once he retires. Ever. It'll be Colts pictures everywhere. I mean, that's what happened with Peyton when he went to Denver. That's just what happened. That was the life we had to live for a couple years whenever the Peyton Manning left. Go on, Connor.
Don't forget about the possibility of Brady-Belichick in the Super Bowl as well.
Yeah. Connor, there hasn't been a lot of thick around here lately, but Stidham is our quarterback right now. Do you know who Stidham is?
Yeah, he looks good.
I think Andy Dalton's going to the Patriots, huh?
Sounds like it.
Can we afford him? Honestly, can we even afford the red rifle?
I don't know. There's no money. We got no money. We got no players. We got no coaches. Our pets' heads are falling off. Coronavirus is running rampant. New England is in a hilarious time right now. Hey,
hilarious.
T's and P's. Well, hilariously terrible, obviously. Yeah. T's and P's to all of New England, obviously, in this very, very, very hard time. We know you guys have suffered through a lot, and we're very, very sorry for this when it comes to the football world.
We need it now more than ever. Appreciate you guys.
That was the story of the week that was sponsored by Grainger. Delivering the products that keep your facility running is what Grainger does best. They've been doing it for 90 years. Visit Grainger.com for whatever you need, whenever you need it. Grainger for the ones who get it done. You got toilet paper?
Maybe.
I do not think so.
I fact checked that Tampa was the number 1 rushing defense and the number 7 defense in yards per play.
You got to feel pretty good about your little brain there, huh? A lot of CTE talk about your brain, and that one had pulled that out of nowhere.
A lot of gambling stats.
Those are numbers too, by the way. That's 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Me and AJ Hawk will be live on youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show. All free agency updates. We are so thankful you choose to listen or watch wherever the hell you may be. You have the opportunity to let a lot of things penetrate you. The fact that you let us do that for at least 2 hours and maybe another hour this afternoon, we hold you eternally grateful forever. We are very, very thankful for that. Our show is stupid. We're one that talks about things that shouldn't be talked about in the fashion that we talk about. We don't know much about what we're talking about. We just end up being right on a pretty regular occasion. Our phone calls aren't always heaters. We had a guy swear today from New York that probably cost us $1,000 in an FCC fine. That is what we do every single day. We try to bring great conversation, great opinion, great perspective, and we'll be back tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Same Pat time, same Pat place. This is the Pat McAfee Show from Indianapolis, Indiana!
At Simple Mobile, you get the no-contract advantage. Unlimited talk, text, and data now for $30 a month. Now on a 5G-ready network with no activation fees ever. No confusion, no complexity, no frustration, and no contract. Ever, ever, ever. Now get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a month. And now 5G-ready. It's our best deal ever. Buy yours now at nationwide retailers or at Simple Mobile dealers. Learn more at simplemobile.com. Simple Mobile, out with the old, in with the simple.